This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Resolved. I pose a question to the negators. You've come and told us all that you've told us, but I want to pose a question to you that if it's not the recent increase in internet censorship and relationship of social media in Uganda, then what is it? The affirmers, the negators are actually telling us that we all know that democracy, yes, they have defined democracy again, but we all know that democracy all comes after, all the factors that determine democracy all come to the end of participation, accountability, and presentation. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come as team affirmers to tell them that limited freedom, they have talked about limited freedom and they are saying it's actually not limited. But we are saying that freedom of expression is actually limited because online, I would like to give an example, ladies and gentlemen. During the 2016, all social media platforms were banned and then later revived. But we have seen that Facebook was actually not revived up to now in 2021. We have seen that according to Google, 2,782,200 Facebook users in Uganda have been affected. And how is this doing so? It is not allowing people to express themselves and give opinions. So are you telling us that it's actually not limiting freedom of expression? It is not about how you're expressing yourself, vulgar or not. We are saying that it is actually leaving you to express yourself because you don't know what you want to express. Why are you saying that it's only that they want to express themselves vulgar when there are actually other people, that the 2 million that want to express themselves and pass their opinions to the government? So I would like to continue on and keep on. They said about people can be manipulated, but we have actually seen that there is corruption in Uganda. We have seen that there is corruption, and how have we seen this? People's behaviors, attitudes, and beliefs are actually shaped by selecting information to be represented by them, by the government. So look at this, ladies and gentlemen, that corruption has been there, but still the government is informing the public that it is actually not corruption that is taking place because they are telling them what they want them to hear because they don't want them to go on the other side of what they want. So they are telling them that corruption is actually not taking place, but it's actually taking place in actual sense. We have seen that citizens' belief from what is true is actually diverted because the government wants them to account for what they want them to account. So they are not going to come back and account for what has happened, for the money to go into whatever it is happening, the corruption that they are doing and where the money is going, but they are going to leave them with asking the accountability for what the government, for the government's favor actually. So I would like to continue on and explain more about what my first affirmer came and said. He talked about Robert Chagulanyi. Members, we have seen that Robert Chagulanyi made an account to track and monitor his votes as elections were taking place. What was the use of this? He wanted the people to be informed of what was going on as elections were going on. So he wanted everyone to be sure of what is going on. But since it was banned, it was given limited, people were given limited access of what is going on. And why are we saying that it is actually undermining democracy? It is undermining democracy because it was given less participation. People were given less participation because they did not know what was going on. How do you expect me to vote, to do something? How do you expect me to participate in something that I don't know about? So you have not given me access to information so that I can know what is going on. So you're actually limiting my access to information. You also talked about the T tax. It has been replaced by the 12%, the 12% and 18% of the tax level and the valued added tax. Access to information is actually limited in this way because government is actually increasing on the amount of money that needs to be used. Rest my case.
So panel, before I go any further in our resolution today, I want to bring to the notice of the House that Team Affirmative actually supports wrong democracy that would bring about instabilities in our country. Now I want to highlight the following factors before I even explain anything else. According to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UN through this body highlights the principles of democracy but does not give a specific does not give specific guidelines on how these principles are supposed to be put in place in different countries. What does this mean? It means any country has a right, any government has got the right to look through the population it has, the nature of people it is having in its country, and implement these principles of democracy in accordance to that. Now, dear House, I want to also bring to our notice that according to Act 44 of the Uganda National Constitution, it highlights and caters for the absolute rights and freedoms in the country. Now, I want to bring to our notice the fact that the freedom of expression and speech is not actually an absolute right or freedom in the country. In other words, it can be compromised if the government can justify the reason it is compromising it. The absolute rights and freedoms are the ones that government cannot compromise at whatever cost. But since the right to expression and speech is not part of the absolute rights and expressions in the government's constitution, which constitution is actually demarcated to promote democracy in a country in whatever way is possible. Dear House, I want us to look at that and consider team negative holding water in this case. Now, dear House, I also want to bring to our notice that team affirmative actually comes and talks of limiting accessibility to information, which actually they call compromising and undermining their democracy. Dear House, I want to bring to our notice that in 2021, the most recent general elections that we had, presidential elections, in January, there was internet censorship that the government put in place, whereby most social media platforms, I should say, were banned from use for about 5 days prior to the elections. Why did government do this? Before this measure had been taken, we had registered a number of 54 deaths in our country, whereby this death came about because of people's reactions to the wrong information that was in circulation through social media platforms and internet. So just imagine, dear House, how many more deaths would have been registered if government had not brought about this measure of censorship to the information that was leaking out to the general public. Dear House, the team affirmative claims that it is their right to know what is happening in the country. Now, they talk of an example of Bobby Wine during these elections where the censorship had been put in place. I'm coming back to you. So, dear House, they said that they were not given ability to access information about their particular candidate. I want to pose a question to team affirmative to come and justify to the House whether their decision on the person they went to vote on the ballot paper was actually influenced by government censorship on social media and internet use. Now, dear House, team negative brings to us a case whereby we say actually increasing internet censorship and social media restrictions does not undermine democracy in any way, but rather comes to promote democracy and protect the rights of people. Now, I'm going to talk about the principles of democracy, which are rights and expression, peace and stability, and then accountability, whereby any government has the sole role to be accountable to its citizens, and government has the right to compromise anything that would tantamount to instabilities in the country so that it can provide proper accountability to its citizens and provide security, ensure peace and stability in a nation. Dear House, team affirmative wants to justify that people should express anything in any way that they want to express it. Dear House, the people that are actually removed, let me say about the 2021 saga, whereby when censorship was done, it was not affecting just a specific group of people, but rather it affected every single user of internet and social media, which promoted democracy in that say. Thank you, dear House, for listening.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.